Well, I had, to start with, I had a scholarship from Japan to study in Tokyo, in Chiba University.
Okay.
And there I had the choice, what direction to take. Some friends, they took medicine, because some of them, they took civil engineering. I chose the architecture because it is beautiful, and serving the people also at the same time, making housing, making such buildings, and to facilitate the life of the lower income people. And I started there, and I get acquainted with some good architects, in Japan. I had the chance to see some of them. Professor Tange, for instance, and those are well-known, world-known Tange. I get, acquainted with him and some other architects, known architects. And I complete, and after I finish my course, my study, BSc, which took me about 5 years or about 6 years, 1 year language and 5 years studying. And I had a chance to work with a famous office, architectural office, called Shimizu.
Shimizu, yeah.
Shimizu. I had the chance to work with them for 1 year, complete year. After that, I had the chance to correspond with the United States, university in Chicago, IIT, the School of Mies van der Rohe. I decided to go there.
So you went directly
from Japan, from Tokyo to Chicago.
And what year was that?
It was in 1966, 66, 67, 66, yes. Middle of 66. After that, I studied there. After completing, I returned back to Iraq. In the IIT, I started having some knowledge about town planning. We had a German professor called Ludwig Helmersheimer.
Okay.
He was teaching, with Mies van der Rohe. He used to teach town planning. He's famous. He have a theory. They call it linear expansion. The city is a linear expansion. This is his theory, Hilbersheimer's theory. Hilbersheimer used to be in Germany. He left Germany with Mies van der Rohe. They came to the United States after the Second World War. When I came back to Iraq, I had the option to work in the housing office, Ministry of Housing, where there's pure architectural work, or to work in the Ministry of Urban Planning. So I had the choice to go with the Ministry of Urban Planning. I stayed there for about 4 or 5 years there. Plenty of useful work I had there. First of all, I learned many things in a practical, how things are going in practice. I was in charge of the town planning of 3 major cities in Iraq. The Mosul town plan, master plan, and the Basra town plan, and Kirkuk. These 3 cities, I was in charge, for their master plan. In fact, there was foreign companies working, for those 3 companies. In Mosul, there was a French firm called Siet International. In Basra, there was an office, I forget the name of their name, famous. In Kirkuk was this Doxiadis was working. and I was supervising for them. I mean, I learned much. I got more than I gave.
So what was your role like as a supervisor? Would you represent these cities with these companies, or what was your role?
I check the report they submit. I check it, see it, and I confirm their work so that they got paid.
Ah.
Yeah, so I was in charge of, and I used to go, to the municipalities in Kirkuk municipality, in Mosul municipality, in Basra municipality. Sometimes I used to go on the same day. There was an airplane, Iraqi airplane, comes up in the morning, 7 o'clock, goes to Basra. And then I reached there about 8 o'clock. So I go to the municipality, supervise the work and their surveys and the things they are doing. And then in the evening, 5 o'clock, there's another airplane comes to Baghdad. And they come. And I used to put my car in the airport, in Baghdad airport. It was just heavy works, but I think it was useful. I got much knowledge from that. Then they asked me in the university, there was a center for urban studies in the College of Engineering. And it was in 1976 almost. I joined there, transferred my work from the Ministry of Town Plan to university. And I stayed in the university up till 2010, I was continuous. And during that period, in 79, I got a scholarship from the university to study my PhD. And I was thinking where to go. Many friends, they advised me to go to England. There are some good schools in England. And some friends advised me to go to Poland. They said, because of Paul Service was working in Baghdad. So it was, time to see their work and things. So I chose Chechen, and I went there. And from that time, I wrote to the Ministry of Planning that the Professor Zarimba is well known in town planning and in regional planning, which we don't have. Regional was a lack for us in Iraq, regional planning. So they invite him, Professor Zarimba, to come to Baghdad. And after that, he did a report about the regional plan, how to organize regional plan, and how to organize an office for the regional plan in the Ministry of Planning. They enjoyed very much in the Ministry of Planning about his work. And they used to invite him every 2 years, every 1 year, every 2 years. He used to come to Iraq and go back. At that time, I was in Poland, in Chechen. I completed my PhD and I returned the same place, the Ministry of, the University of Baghdad.
I wanted to ask two things. The Center for Planning, for Urban Planning at the University of Baghdad, do you know its history, why it was established at this time? What was the goal of the Center for Urban Planning at the University of Baghdad?
The Center for Urban Planning in the University of Baghdad was inaugurated and it was established to educate and teach town planning for the urban planners and for the people in the offices, especially the higher people in the offices, to know what is town planning, how to, not only architects, many economists, many social planners, and those people to get some information. And we used to have, we good students we have. Our Minister of Commerce very famous. He was our student also. He studied with us.
Okay.
And of that, this knowledge helped him. He's a geographer.
Yeah.
Geographer with urban planning gives him a good background. He was very successful in the work in with the Ministry of Trade
Yeah.
and Commerce.
Yes. So the idea was to have a center for postgraduate.
For postgraduate
Course
Course.
focusing on
Yeah.
the planning for different
for
specialties.
different
That's very
backgrounds,
important,
yes,
yeah.
for different specialties. And this
Yes, and also when talking about you coming to Szczecin, because I know that at that time there was this center for planning of developing countries in Szczecin.
yes, there is.
This is why you chose Szczecin, or why Szczecin?
No, that is I enjoyed.
Sorry? We can continue? Okay. Do you need water or something?
No.
Okay. So,
I joined that this course, and very useful. I think it's equal to the PhD degree, because there was a bunch of qualified professors. They came from different universities, beside Professor Zarbo, of course, and his colleagues, and there are some professors. They came from Uch, professor came from Lublin, professor very, well-known people from different specialties. They gave lectures, in this course.
it was 1 year, right?
No, 6 months.
6 months.
6 months.
Okay.
I think this organized by the United Nations. I think.
It was somewhat
Supported by the United
yeah.
Nations.
It was quite, I think it was the only one like this in the Eastern Europe that was a center postgraduate studies for urban and regional planning. So it was,
I don't have idea.
Professor Zaremba was exceptional in this case, yeah?
Yes.
And how come that he became your supervisor? Was it?
Of course, since his name became famous, he comes to Iraq and return back and things. I asked him, if possible to be welcomed very much, and he said, okay.
And what was your thesis about?
My thesis was I had to choose a place from Iraq. His idea was to choose the seaside area in Basra.
Okay.
Because he's very specialized in seashore areas, harbors and things. I myself, I wanted to choose something near Baghdad.
Mm-hmm.
In that time, when the 80s became 1980, the war started between Iraq and Iran.
Yes.
So he said, Professor Zaremba said, Baghdad is dangerous to take, study about that, because we need maps, we need the comments, and we so he advised me to take something in the Upper Euphrates area, the Upper Euphrates in the Anbar area. And some materials was available, maps and things was available at that time. And I had my studies completed then.
I actually saw your PhD at the library. It's still there.
I beg your pardon?
In the library of the University
I
of
see,
Szczecin, there is still have your PhD.
Still, the name of Professor Zaremba is written, isn't it?
Yes,
on
and
the-
your name. This
My
is
name
your
and
PhD.
Professor Zaremba,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So,
Supervised by Professor Zaremba.
yes. And how was your studying experience in Poland? Because you said earlier that for some time you spent in Krakow.
During my stay, I asked Professor Zaremba, I said, I want to go to Warsaw to have some, to enlarge my study, at that time, to have some documents, to have something. He advised me, he said, why Warsaw, why not Krakow? Then there's a Miasto project in Krakow, And the University of Krakow, they were doing some housing problem in Iraq, housing studies in Iraq. He said it might be some useful. So he wrote to them and he introduced me to them. I mean, they welcomed that I would go there. I went there, I mean.
And how was this experience in Krakow with Miasto Projekt? Did you have a chance to work with the people who used to work in Iraq?
No, I mean, in Miasto Projekt at that time I didn't see much people, I mean, because they completed their work in Iraq at that time. And it seems that most of them professors in the university, so they are not staying in one place. I mean, so everyone returned to his university.
Yeah.
And the head of architecture department in Krakow University, he was member also and with Miasto Projekt. He gave me good information and he directed me for 6 months. I mean, he did some studies. It is variety, let us say there's a variety of backgrounds, I mean, variety of information. The study in the United States is quite different than study in Poland. In Poland, they have global studies, very general things. I mean, when they want to study some local things, they have the background, in large background, and then they come to the center. In the United States, mainly they go in very detailed. They are very careful in the detailed things. Yeah, and architectural detail and things, even the town planning. I haven't seen a large picture from their thinking, their mentality. I worked some offices in the United States, architectural offices. C.F. Murphy and SOM, Skidmore, Owing and Merrill. They are famous offices, yes, very famous offices. I worked with them. And I find that they care in the very small things, detailed things. They don't care for large things. In Poland, they care mostly in the large things. And I enjoy the large things more than the detail. Myself also, I like the general things in very general.
And at that time when you studied in Poland, was it still approach to planning, was it still more functional, or what was the approach to planning at the time? Do you remember?
The planning in Poland?
Yes, and in your studies, what was the...
Well, in general, I haven't went very much detail in planning of Poland, I mean.
Yes.
Because Professor Zarba used to direct me to architectural work, a planning work of Iraq.
Yes, which is
so good. I was in Iraq more, I mean.
Yes.
Of course, Warsaw was very important plans, and we visited the municipality of Warsaw, and we see the plan that they work, I mean, the methodology of their planning. And it was very useful. In Krakow also, in Krakow we had very detailed study about master plan of Krakow and the functional areas, especially the old town, the movement of the transportation, and they cut the car movement in the central area, and that is successful, very successful. How much we need it in Iraq. Now we need also such things, solutions to close transportation inside the city, unless it's pedestrian-wise, more than in car.
Yeah.
In Iraq, we had very much problems, but nobody cares about it. Should we talk about Iraq or still?
Yes, Iraq. Yes.
In Iraq, I mostly emphasize about transportation system. Not because of the jam of the transportation only, but the backbone of the city is the transportation. I mean, when you go to the skeleton of the city, first of all, they should see the main roads, which create the backbone. I mean, like the human being, the backbone of the city is the mass transportation, mass transit. And in my opinion, our mass transit should be the metro metro lines. We should have the metro lines, very much, but nobody cares. When you ask the official people, they say, "Oh, it's very costly." What is costly? I told them Egypt is a poor country. And Egypt has, every year I go to Cairo, for instance, I see new line, transport, metro. How can they manage to have such a line? Of course, there are some companies that they have in the, not in cash business, but maybe long terms, an easy payment. So this encouragement makes it easy to have the direction. They don't care. Now, after so much we are talking about the transportation, and actually the streets are full of cars. Now our Prime Minister starts thinking of having this underpass and flyover and these things. And I think this will never solve the problem of the jam transportation. Unless they should have the plan of this metro line. I used to say it always, especially in our club, we have the cultural weekly meetings on Saturdays. And of course, many selected people, they come in our meeting. And I used to talk with them. The transportation is very important. The metro line is essential for Iraq. It seems that they don't care. They say it's costly, it's not. They don't think of it. Only they see that traffic is jam in the streets. They cannot have alternatives of solutions for this problem of the car problem, transportation problem.
But do you think it's just bad planning, or do you also think this is a bit like a social thing that people just prefer to be in their cars, and the idea of mass transit is kind of lost in Iraq? It was there.
This is one thing, of course, to have the prestige of having their own cars and things. But I think they are afraid to have such costly things. Something expensive, it takes some money. Now by the time the cost is enlarging,
Yeah.
This in 1975 and 1976, at that time when the
Scott Wilson, no?
I beg your pardon?
The Scott Wilson study.
Scott Wilson.
Yeah.
The study of Scott Wilson at that time, they proposed the metro, and they contacted some Swiss and British company firms to implement the work. They said it cost only $1 billion. Now they say it's 20 billion. So if they were implemented at that time, it was such cheap and good. Of course, yeah. Anyway, this is the idea of transportation system in Iraq, which is, for me, I think it is one of the most essential points in town planning of the cities.
Yes.
May I ask a question? Because you were saying about the metro and you compared the situation in Cairo.
Yeah.
But more generally, why Baghdad doesn't have any public transport?
Why?
Why Baghdad doesn't have public transport?
How do you explain that? I know that the common
because
people don't have cars, but
because it is costly.
it's just a question of money.
A question of for them is
Look at her, okay?
for them it's a question of money, definitely. They don't like to have something costly because they want to bribe things. The money. They are afraid to have such costly things.
But before, in the 80s, there was bus system, no? Bus.
In the 80s, we were engaged in the war with Iran. So there is no mention for. I cannot. Just mention about transportation because our main thing is to fight in the war.
Yeah.
But in the 90s, for instance, we start talking about it again. And now, this 2000, they start now talking about transportation and the problems, but they escape the problem of to have mass transit. There is no such a big city with 10 million people in Baghdad with no public transportation.
Exactly.
We don't have public transportation. Only private cars and private ones.
But I mean that in the 80s there were buses, right?
There was some buses. There was some
System of
buses.
buses, or just center?
Yeah, the mentality of the people is against the war. I mean, they don't care about transportation. Yes, nobody cares about transportation and things.
Because I know that also the transportation was one of the main focuses of the master plan prepared by the Iraqi team.
Oh, yes, but nobody reads it, and nobody. All the master plan being done by Baghdad was not implemented. They keep it in the library in the municipality in Baghdad. Yeah, the Port Service master plan. Of course, Port Service was the only master plan that implemented up till now. But, and the Japanese study was very valuable study. Japanese, they have done very good firms. Also, it's closed. And then this, the Lebanese firm, Khatib Alami, also the studies, it cost them millions of dollars. Just close it and they put it in the library. Yeah.
Yeah, I also know one of the people that we talked with said that Baghdad is probably the city with the most studies.
Most what?
Most studies, but not implemented.
Not implemented,
like
no.
overstudied
Yes, of
in a
course.
way,
Yes.
but not.
Scott Wilson study, of course, very good for transportation and things. We advised to promote that studies. I mean, to have something about this. The study was Scott Wilson proposed to have one line directly. We proposed to have return, roundabout in our study.
Can you tell a little bit about this study, because it was the first development plan for Baghdad or master plan for Baghdad done by the Iraqi team that you had it, right?
Our group.
Yes.
Yes, from Ministry of Baghdad.
How
From
it
the.
started, and can you tell us?
We filmed. After the war. In 1992, 93. At that time, there was Japanese firm was working about in Iraq. The Japanese firm, when Iraq has a problems with the American thing, they left the work and they went. So the mayor of Baghdad asked the president of our university, can you make a firm to study the master plan of Baghdad? Is it possible? Some professors and people, they can work, because at that time, Baghdad, the government was very weak, there's no money, they don't have, and they cannot pay. So the president of the university asked our College of Engineers, and especially the Center of Urban and Regional Planning. They said, can you do this work? Continue the study of the Japanese? We were ready at that time. We told our president of the university, we told them that we can make a team to work. And by chance, we had a very qualified people in Iraq. One of them, Abdussalam Farman. Abdussalam was a United Nations expert, but he was supervising Mecca master plan. He was the head of master plan of Mecca. So such qualified person. He worked in the national about 10 years. Very qualified. We had another qualified man in transportation. He was working in London. We had another qualified. So we had a team, very qualified team at that time. And we start working on the master plan, continuing the master plan and the problems of the master plan. And then suddenly the change became in 1903. The Amanat of Baghdad, the municipality of Baghdad, they don't enjoy with the university. They say, we cannot have anything from the university. They want to have some firm that makes them trade, they go outside. So Khatib and Alami, he proposed to take them here, take them to Beirut for 1 week. Everyone from the team, they go to Beirut for 1 week, enjoy and come back. And so they want some foreign firms, they don't want Iraqi.
Iraq.
They stop the work.
And so one of the main things you addressed in the study was transportation, right?
In my opinion, of course, I was emphasizing on the transportation of the study, yeah.
And the round...
The round table, instead of Scott Wilson direct one line, I proposed to have a circle done. Yeah.
And what other than transportation, what were the other main issues that you wanted to address in the master plan? Do you remember?
To try not to expand the city. I mean, try to make some, jams to stop the enlargement of the city, and emphasizing on the new towns, small new towns, outside the city.
Like satellite. No.
Like satellite system. These are the main things. Of course, the shifting the central area, the central area in Georgia, center of the city, to divide the products, the things that needs people to buy and sell, they can have it in the same place. But the things that they have, what they call the mass selling, that they sell to
like
other
magazines or
to other cities, to other places, not to be in the center of the city, should be on the peripheries of the cities, so that try to make the jam of the transportation less as much as possible.
Also like workshops, probably small factories to move it out of the city.
They call it the CBD, Central Business District. And we propose to have some open spaces for meetings, for instance, open places, for people to gather, to have a very general, to have public speech. Now they go to Tahrir area. Tahrir is not Tahrir is a transportation circulation. You cannot make a demonstration there. It's much better to have something in the city in front of the municipality, to have some open place where people can gather, where people can demonstrate, where they can have some lecture, talks and things. These are points we emphasize. Green areas also we took, emphasis about it. Public services also took the sewage system, and these things took much of our importance.
And how was the work? Because it was a very difficult time, the sanctions. You worked during the sanctions, and it was a very difficult time. It was a very difficult time. So how was the work going? Were there maps available? Did you have any opportunities for surveying?
We had the maps. We had maps in the most dangerous time. We had surveys and this, what they call it, sky maps. We bought it from Amman, from Jordan. The U2 airplane comes to Baghdad about 3 times a day. They take pictures. They sell these pictures in Amman. It's about 1 million dinar at that time. They give us a picture of the whole city of Baghdad. Nobody can get it. Unless because we were thinking we had some friends there, we tried to get it.
So from the government you could not get it?
No, we had to buy it from there, yes.
From your own money?
Our money, our budget, our group. Of course, we have a budget, yeah. Not much, but very possible that we can move, Yeah, and at that time, the Minister of Higher Education himself was specialized in pictures, sky pictures, himself, the minister himself. So he was also supervising. He directed us to go to Amman. He said, you go to Amman and that office there, you can buy the shipment. And the most dangerous area in Iraq is you having so many wars and problems, and we got such pictures. Yeah, they don't appreciate. Or municipality, or people in power. They don't appreciate such things. But great efforts, in my opinion. This beside our teaching. Beside our supervising our studies and things, our students.
So what gave you the motivation to do it?
What motivation is, I think, loving the city, because it's my city that I was born, I was living. Comparing with other cities with the world, they should be developed. Why it is so much backward?
And in your visions for the city, in which directions you wanted to go? Because it's always, I think, with the planning is a lot about vision, right?
Yes.
What kind of city you want to become? So.
Well, in my opinion, that we were thinking that population, first of all, population should not increase so much. Maximum should be 5 million at that time. We were thinking that in the future, this population should be limited to 60 million. This is one of the things. Secondly, the human life should be, acceptable. The pollution and things should be, acceptable. Yeah. This is our main directives. We should compare Baghdad with others, with Amman, for instance, with Kuwait, with other cities. Why Baghdad is very backwarded?
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you, because it's not like from a planning perspective.
Yeah.
What is very, I think, special about or unique about Baghdad is that, let's say, up until 2012, probably, it's very dominated by low-rise buildings, which is exceptional for it. Now we have a lot of this big-rise buildings.
In our opinion, of course, we were thinking very much about that. The central area, the city around city in Baghdad, it's about 3 kilometers. This should be conserved as original cities, not high building, or with two stories, this average. After that, in Mansour area and other places, you could have high rises. But this is one of the motives, we use to direct.
Because I think this is something, when I went to Cairo 2 years ago, and there were many high-rises everywhere, and still in Baghdad, the high-rises are new, other than the Haifa streets.
You know why it is now high-rises is new in Baghdad? Because the government is giving the lands free.
Yeah.
Anyone wants to build a high building for housing, they give him land free, no charge. So, people, they got, everybody wants to, they have this offices, companies, they start getting them. The most important, most beautiful lands, the central area, near Zawra. Near that area, they got it, and they make high rises.
This I was surprised, because Zawra was always a green area.
To whom they were doing apartment? To the low-income people. At the time that the apartments now is millions of millions. No poor people could get everything.
But it seems that this is a new phenomenon. This high rises and gated.
Yeah, because the land is free. All the companies, they enjoy it. They have a free land. Best lands in the center of the city, they got free land. They can build them. The government make it free in order to encourage to have amount for the low-income people.
Yes. And the same in Mutanna, no? The old Al-Mutanna airport.
And it's valuable, valuable, millions of the cost of the land. just free with nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, I saw that, but I wanted to ask from the planning
Yeah,
perspective.
it was a fake. It was a fake. To have,
And if talking about the green spaces, because I know that still in the post-service plan there was this idea to have a green belt.
the green belt is
Was it successful?
failure
Failure.
because it is very easy land to occupy. One time, the president at that time, Saddam, he asked to have some lands, special lands, to give it to his soldiers and the military people. He wrote to the Ministry of Amarat Baghdad he needs about 90,000 pieces of land. 90,000. Because all the soldiers and the people who were fighting in the war, he wants to encourage them and give them some awards. And Amarat Baghdad, they searched to have 90 pieces of land, they couldn't find. Though they say the best thing is to get the green area, that's green belt. They enjoyed it. They took the green belt and cut it and make a division and so the green belt is not, correct. Unless you should have some ends for some heavy ends for the periphery of the city. Like for instance, the airport, like military camps, like sport area, international sport, gymnasiums, large, that you cannot pass it. It should be end of the city.
Like forceful.
Yeah, powerful things. And like, for instance, the botanical gardens, also it is about nobody can cross that area. Such things should stop the expansion of the city.
But yeah, it's an important point that there has to be strong stop, not just.
Yeah, it should be strong. Yes, of course. It should be a shock to stop things. Otherwise, just like now, just expanding and expanding and expanding.
Yeah.
Nothing can stop them.
Yeah, not the desert.
Yes, that's it.
And I wanted to ask about, because you touched upon it, that the subdivision of plots.
Yeah.
That and I think it was also mentioned in this study that you did
at
the University of Baghdad,
Yeah.
that the original size of plots in Baghdad was rather large, and then started this process of people subdividing.
Yes, at that time the policy was wrong that to have 600 meters for each lot. 600 too much, At that time they were, subdividing large areas about 60 meters, 60 meters. Even so, including my house also 60 meters. I think it's a mistake, not so. So after that they, changed it to 300 meters. And after that they became 200 meters. I think 200 meters is enough to have for one family, should be subdivided in this concern.
Yeah, no, it's an important point, because if you plan it like this in advance, then you can control it. But then if it happens that people themselves divide...
I say after that, people themselves, they start dividing. Now sometimes they divide to 50 meters, 50 meters. And to have 2 floors and things like that. Haphazard, not organized.
Haphazard, and I was wondering, when you were doing this plan for this study, this master plan for Baghdad, were also sanctions in some way included in the plan, like you were taking account of the sanctions, or of course the sanctions impacted your work, but because of the lack of resources, because of some difficulties with data, was it also something you took into account in the planning, or it was...
I think the successful plan should not have so many sanctions.
Yeah.
Once you make so many sanctions, the plan would be, not easy, especially in the developing country. And the developing country, the law is very poor. You cannot enforce things. Let the things get, naturally. So your proposal, your plans should be easy to be implemented. Yeah, without having such hard approach.
Okay. This is
Yeah.
also an important point. And were some elements of your study used by the municipality, or it was not? Were some parts of your
nothing
study
was
used?
nothing was implemented. No, just a study and put it. Yeah.
Okay. I thought maybe they took some ideas.
I don't know. If some of them they take ideas or not, but anyway, it is our effort, so it's heavy effort. Including Gada also, she was in our team. And so many people, they were good people, they were in our team.
Yes, and because I wanted to ask you, because this is something for me to understand, because the last implemented master plan was the Mesto Project Kraków 73.
Still, up to now, yes, implemented.
Yes, but then there was this kind of institution of the higher committee for planning that was changed.
The higher committee is, available in the municipality always. They have a higher committee for future change and future development.
Okay, but in the 90s it was also, or no?
I think at that time it was, the committee is there, but they don't have a meeting. They don't have a meeting. Our contact was directly with the mayor.
Okay.
Always, anything we have any problem, we go to the mayor.
Okay.
He enjoy also when we ask him, we tell him that he enjoy very much.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And did you also cooperate with other institutions in preparing the document? What was your working?
Of course,
scheme?
with the survey offices. We have an office about maps and survey of all the Iraqi areas, and especially the security offices. Also, they should be informed. We had a good contact with them, and as I mentioned, we had, the maps is very, our work is depending on maps. Maps is essential, very essential things. So we could find these maps, as I told you, in Amman, Jordan. These are mainly our concerns. At that time, we should be in coordination with the police and with with the official places. Himself, Saddam himself, the leader, he had information about our work because the mayor was telling him, in some meeting, was telling him that we have a group from the Ministry of Baghdad, University of Baghdad. They are working to renewing the master plan and give them proposal. He said 20 years their targets. That time was in 1995, 96. Our target was in 2015. So Saddam said, why it is 15? Make it up to 20. Yeah.
So you have to switch suddenly.
Yes, it's some problem. So the mayor, he came, he said that His Excellency says that you change it up to 1920. We said, okay.
So you had to change all the calculations?
Having some changing and things. That means, he is following our work.
He is interested.
He was following,
Which is the way it should be, that the authority
of course,
follows,
it is
otherwise...
the future of the city, of course.
The future of the capital.
Yeah, capital,
Capital, yes. And this is the last question. Because you were also teaching at the university and writing books about planning.
Yeah.
So what was like the main message that you want to, pass to your students through the teaching and through the writing of your professional career?
Well, in my opinion, to the students and my advice to the students to go on the site. I mean, make use of the site, not only books. They should go to the site and they have interviews, social interviews. Because the planning, first of all, you should public hearing. You should have some public hearing, people that should gather and you can hear what they want, you can change, tell them your opinion and evaluate your opinion, I mean, whether they like it or they don't like it. That is a good, my advice to the students. Yeah.